So happy Christmas to everyone, if you are a celebrator and or whatever your holiday may be. And our lovely diversity here in the States is an asset. I still believe that diversity is our strength. That said, what I have done here today to say is that I felt like I had to rush in the very last thing I had to say on my last video, and that was just because, I don't know, 10 minutes, me, honestly, I have enough to say to fill podcasts if I didn't have an actual job and things to do. I'm not starting a podcast, but I could talk. Ask my friends. I can. So hopefully you're someone who likes the things I talk about. If so, we'll have fun, particularly if you have interesting things to say as well. I also wanted to just remind anyone who wants to come in and comment on my comment section, totally fine if you disagree with me, but speak to me. I am not she on my channel. I am the person you're speaking to. So please do that, because I've already had to correct someone on that issue. So just remember, it's not about agreement, it's about respect. I also will kick off anybody who's just trolling or like doing end zone dancing, because you're not having a conversation. You're about to feel it. And consumer confidence is starting to go down. People are starting to hoard. People like the progressives, people like the Democrats, who already saw, oh my God, he's the president-elect and stuff's gonna start hitting the fan, so they've been getting ready. Okay, anyway, that's that. The other thing I wanted to address is to expand on the last thing I kind of rushed in my last video, where I was talking about, we've got it all confused by, not being the greatest communicators on the progressive side, although we pride ourselves on being communicators. Nope. Because somehow, either through sort of the alt-right co-opting the languaging of populist progressives, or just twisting it and just purposely telling you guys things that we don't believe, it has gotten confused. And so I want to say again very clearly, progressives do not care about what you're doing in your personal life. We don't. As long as you are not hurting people who are non-consenting or have or do not have the ability legally to consent. Talking to you, Matt Gaetz. Other than that though, yeah, alternative lifestyles, your identity, your religion, I don't care. I don't care. Now, I also want to make something else clear to some of my conservative friends. I have been a bit unfair in characterizing conservatives, the same as MAGA, the same as everyday people who gotten confused with MAGA, as well, and also, of course, I guess people who would call themselves Republican, like my dad. I do understand there are distinctions, so I do apologize for speaking as if it's all one wash of a thing. It's not, but like I said, feelings have been very raw. And so it's popping out in some different ways. So I'm taking some accountability for that, because I do understand that not all conservatives are MAGA, not all MAGA is conservative, not all Republicans are considering themselves conservatives. Some of them call themselves libertarians or what have you. Libertarians may not call themselves Republicans. I get it. We're on a spectrum here when it comes to the right, and on a spectrum when it comes to the left. Because leftists would not call themselves Democrats. They would say, you're out of your damn mind. I don't associate with those goons. And some Democrats would probably say the same back, right? So, yes, subtlety is required. The other thing I wanted to point to is to say very clearly, because I had heard this from my conservative friends, that they felt for years like they weren't represented in mainstream media, that they were like seen anthropologically, like, you know, Republicans in the mist. I heard that on the Bulwark, and I thought, wow, that's funny, because as a person who back then, in like the 90s, right, when I sort of had enough time to gain my own political opinions and identity, I also felt like progressives were never represented in the media as well. That might be surprising to some of you folks who are like, yeah, but, you know, they're all liberals, and, you know, CNN and MSNBC weren't even, you know, pretending that they were in any kind of like socially conservative stuff. Yeah, socially conservative. Hear me though, because the thing is that a progressive does not just want socially progressive policies. They want economically progressive qualities. That was actually the true nature of Teddy Roosevelt's embrace, or, you know, sort of creation of the progressive movements that slingshotted us into, I think, the things that set us up for the 20th century and its success. So what I am saying to you guys out there who felt anthropological back in the 90s, so did we. So did we. I would go on to PBS or, you know, one of those like panel kind of shows that were known for that, like even Charlie Rose or any of these people. They would always talk about socially liberal, but nobody ever addressed the underlying, the right below the surface inequities. And it was like they were trying to make us be okay with that substitution. Now, one thing I will give MAGA credit for is they said, no, that substitution is not okay. Now, they've swung way too far into the socially conservative. It's none of your damn business. Stay out of people's personal lives, particularly consenting adults. However, I will tell them they were not alone in feeling like they were underrepresented, because I said trickle-down economics is a fucking lie, even back then. And it is. And nobody would deal with it. So what I will tell you is that the media, from the time that I was able to have the ability to understand abstract thought and see what was going on, has been centrist. Centrism is the problem. That is not progressive. And frankly, it doesn't look like it's very conservative. I think everybody should stay the fuck out of people's personal lives, and we should work on real economic populism, because our biggest issue is those guys, the billionaires, because they don't care if you're on the right or the left, as long as they can pick your pocket. And that's my Christmas message to you.